Product review blog posts can be extremely valuable on any website, frankly. But we're finding that product reviews of all sorts of products are pretty much dime a dozen. I mean, it seems like basically anything where you search for, the best of anything, the best camera for YouTubers, there's going to be dozens and dozens of articles answering that question. But when you read through a lot of those articles, it becomes apparent that most of the authors have never physically held the product that they're talking about, let alone done any sort of meaningful testing. So how do you stand out in that sort of a game? Well, the only way to stand out is to actually stand out. If you want a different result from everybody else, you want to rank number one, you want to get real traffic, and you want to get affiliate clicks, well, you're going to have to do something different than everyone else. Okay, before I go any further, I obviously need to address the elephant in the room. No, not that elephant, but rather, how about the fact that Jim and I have said numerous times on this channel not to do product-focused niches for your websites? And then in a recent video, Jim shared some of his favorite ideas for this next year, and a couple of them were,
bike racks,
product-focused niches. The reason for that is we have an approach to product-based niches that will actually work. We've been doing this for a while now, testing this out, and we're really excited to share that with you. So today, to illustrate what I'm talking about with product sites, let's go to caddiesfaultgolf.com. This website was created by an Akabato user who's not a member of Project 24. The site was started in June of 2010. The oldest content, therefore, on this site at the time of recording this video is 10 to 11 months old. There's 54 posts on this website, and about 20 of them aren't even 8 months old yet. This website is not doing as well as it could given the amount of content on it. It's only doing 2,000 to 3,000 page views per month. And the things that are holding it back are a lot of the same things that are holding back almost every other product-focused niche website on the web. And so in this video, you're gonna get to learn how we approach product reviews and how I think that the owner of this website could take this site to the next level and really start to succeed. First of all, he's picked a niche that isn't totally product focused. I mean, it's golf, right? But when I look at the content on this website, it seems that about 8 or 9 out of 10 articles are product focused. I mean, look at this, some of the most recent content. Arccos Caddy Smart Sensors, are they worth it? That's basically a product review. When should I replace my golf driver? That's kind of 50-50, right? It's an affiliate push, but it's probably a better approach to an affiliate push because you're answering a question that's not totally product focused. Best heated vest for golf, clearly a review roundup. Best electric golf carts for hills. How accurate are GPS watches? Every single one of these is about a product, even when they're just answering a question. So it's not product reviews, but it's all product focused. But let's talk a little bit about the approach to reviews and why it's not working for this site. I want to jump into this very first article, the most recent one on the site. Scanning through this article, I've read through it, but as I scan through it, I get very little indication of whether or not the owner of the site or the author of the article has actually ever put a hand on this product. I mean, at the very beginning, I get a cool little table here that gives me kind of the overall rating. It's a very basic looking table. I think that's okay. I don't have a problem with tables looking fairly basic. Again, as long as the information in them is really good and it's at least sufficiently eye-catching. I see this, it kind of looks like an ad with the button below it. This is kind of the type of thing that I might just kind of skip over, and then nothing for the rest of the blog post. Throughout this blog post, I think there would be a lot of benefit in at least having some screenshots of using the app. Maybe even showing how the little sensor goes on the golf club, just so that they can see it and get an idea of exactly how this product works. Okay, so now let's go look at the competition for this particular review. And I already did the search, so I already know what's gonna happen, but Arccos Caddy Smart Sensors review. The winner is a video. Video is gonna do pretty well because again, I get to physically see the product and how it works. It's a little bit harder to show all that in text. But if we even scroll down a little bit to the top article and I click on that article, there are a few things I notice right off the bat. First of all, the headline. This is right here in the SERP. We tried it. If you have a review of a product that you physically have tested and you indicate that in the headline, your article is going to perform better. It's going to get more clicks. When I look at the article itself, there's some photos here. Some of these are probably straight from the manufacturer and they've used them with permission. Reach out to the company and see if you can get access to their marketing content. As I scroll down here, I get to an image that obviously is like a user image. Now, this is from Instagram, right? They've embedded this Instagram post, and that just adds a lot more value. You can't beat physically having the product on you and at least taking photos, if not including short video clips showing some of the different things, the pros and cons. Show more than tell. It's going to do a lot better. Okay, but let's go back to the SERP here for a second. Now, there's this Arcos sensor's worth it, and I get this answer target, this snippet here. Yes, it's definitely worth it. First, these sensors were, the Gen 1 sensors were big and somewhat annoying, but now they're simple and undetectable during play. That's not even a very good snippet. It's just not. Like, it doesn't, like, okay, cool, it's less detectable now, so it's worth it. Write an answer target that says, it's worth it because this has helped me to improve my game by X number of shots. That's how you indicate that it's worth it. I think you could do better, and you could potentially win this snippet and drive more traffic to your site. That leads me to my second issue with this site, as well as with most content here on the web. Let's go back to the homepage. When I click on this next article, when should I replace my golf driver, right? Your answer target here in this article, for the quick answer, when to replace it is, it can last 5 years. 10 or 15 for hobbyist golfers. Well, okay, that doesn't tell me when to replace it. Like when I ask when should I replace it, I'm thinking a little bit more along the lines of, like at what point when I look at my driver do I know that it's toast? So I actually think you have potential for 2 amazing answer targets here in this blog post, potentially even more. For when should I replace my golf driver, I would answer the question, how do I know that my golf driver needs to be replaced? That's the question. Then I would also pose the question, how long do golf drivers typically last? I think this article can cover both of those searches really, really, really well and win a snippet for both. There's something I want to do with this answer target. I'm not going to take the question. I'm only going to take your answer, the snippet here, and let's go put it in a word counter. This has 379 characters. The longest snippets we've really seen working in Google that actually Google picks up are about 310 characters. Even if Google liked this answer, they're probably not going to pick it as a snippet. In fact, I could tell you with almost 100% certainty, this will not win the snippet. What if instead you wrote it like this? A golf driver usually lasts between 5 and 15 years. Regular golfers who golf 30 to 40 rounds per year will usually need to replace their driver after about 5 years, while hobbyist golfers may go 10 to 15 years before replacing theirs. I've actually included the same information that you have, except for the number of rounds of play, which is kind of irrelevant here, right? I didn't ask what a, quote, regular golfer is. I asked how long a driver lasts. So saying 5 to 15 years and then giving that specificity of, it's more on the 5-year side for people who play regularly and more on the 10 to 15-year side for people who are hobbyists. It's a better answer. And my answer has the added benefit of being a lot less than 310 characters, which is kind of about the max that we would want for an answer target. Okay, now in this article, there's another issue that I have that I think is holding you back. And that is here at the bottom. Now, here you've got this sources section, and I've seen this in a few of your blog posts, where you're essentially like giving credit to the people whose articles you took some of your information from. Here's the problem. First of all, that's pretty prominent. If I get to this part in the article, I see sources, and I'm like, wait, this article, how often should you replace your driver? 5 signs it's time to upgrade? Like, that's the same thing this article is about. So did they get all their content from this other guy? So now I go to this article and I scroll down a little bit and I see they have an answer target here. Those numbers don't directly match yours, but that's written in a better way than yours. I would expect this one to beat yours in a Google search. But I think the bigger issue here is you've really cast a lot of doubt on your own knowledge here. So here's what I would do when it comes to citing sources when we get information from them. First, if you got information from another source, it only makes sense to cite that. It's really the honest thing to do. Legally, it's the thing to do. And only cite the source in that section where you actually use that source. Whereas if you put it at the bottom of your blog post and don't say what information you got from them, I really do wonder, how much of this stuff did you know from experience versus how much did you just take from this other blogger's article? The next thing to do when it comes to sources is, as often as possible, refer to original sources. So this guy gives his numbers. If this is what you got, like the life of a golf driver, if that's the number that you got from that other article, well, rather than cite him, why not cite the original source on the Golf Channel where he got his information from? If they actually came up with that information from their experience, then maybe in that section of your article, you know, when you write something that's an idea you got from them, then just put in parentheses, source, colon, and then have a link to the article. You don't even have to show the whole URL. And that way, you're just not really pushing that link. You're not encouraging people to go check it out. You're just citing it, which is the right thing to do. Okay, that actually leads me to sort of the next segment here, and that is to talk about linking. That's a really big thing for all blog posts, but especially I think product review posts. Affiliate links are obviously going to be a major form of monetization for a site like this. And so let's talk about those links as well as internal links on your site. All right, so let's find another blog post. I'm here on page 3. How about this one? This looks like an affiliate type post. You've got some anchor text for a link. I can tell that it's a link. Also, if you have a slower swing speed, having an iron that flies long. Okay, there's a link here. What is it sending me to? And why should I click on it? If you don't give me those 2 pieces of information, the likelihood of me clicking on that link goes way down. We did a study about this and I made a video a year or so ago all about, we just took the time to go through and actually like sell our links. And what we mean by that is give people a strong reason to go click on them. It's not that hard. So here, if I wanted to link to an article that I wrote on my website about people with slower swing speeds, then I would say here, I actually wrote a whole article about that on this site. Boom, now they know exactly where this link is about to take them. I would do that throughout your entire site. You've got a lot of these, I mean here, like the good news is drivers, irons, and putters can last a lifetime. Okay, putters. Like, is this gonna take me to a list of your favorite putters? Is this going to take me to an article about how to choose a good putter? These links are gonna perform much better if you add those 2 elements. You've included here buttons to go check out this product at 2 different places. I actually kind of like that approach. I found that a lot of affiliate programs have better payouts than Amazon, but not necessarily better conversion rates. So I actually like the idea of including links to both places. And I do think that the way you've implemented it here with these buttons is okay. I do often feel like the buttons make it feel a little bit like an ad. I think some audiences are gonna prefer the more organic link, whereas this feels a little bit more like, hey, I'm kind of making a formal sales pitch here, go check the price. I would A/B test that. Okay, the other issue I have with a lot of product review posts is they're gonna say, hey, you know what, these are 2 products side by side, here's the pros and cons of each. Some are better for some and some are better for others. Like, okay, what's the point? Now in this article, you do have that. You do have, here's the verdict. You make a definitive answer, like this is the one that I prefer. I do think that that's very important. I also, as often as possible, like to put that very early on in the article, and I like to make it stand out. A lot of people that come to your content are gonna scroll. They're not gonna read 1,000 or 2,000 words of content. They're gonna scroll through. And in the end, it's like, okay, I got some pros and cons, cool, and they're off. And they're not clicking your link, they're not clicking through to additional content on your site. Even if you want to include sort of the summary or your the verdict, right? If you want to include that here down at the bottom, I would make it stand out. I would use a box of some kind, maybe put a border around it. Gutenberg's builder can do all of that. Make it really clear and make it really easy to find. So now I want to come back around to the product reviews, and the number 1 issue that I have with 99.8% of product-focused websites. And that is that the reviews do not come across as helpful and informative, in large part because I am not given the indication that the reviewer has actually ever touched the product. And even if they have, I'm not given the indication that they've put it really through the test. There are a few ways to test products that we have found to work tremendously well, and this one thing is going to help those of you writing product reviews, whether it's a product-focused niche or just a website with occasional product reviews. It's going to help you take those product reviews to the next level and make them really stand out. First, you have to put your hands on the product. Get a hold of it somehow. If it's golf clubs and you can find a place that will rent them to you or do some kind of a loaner program that you can pay a smaller amount, that's fantastic. You don't necessarily have to buy and torture test every product, But if you haven't played a round or two of golf using the clubs that you're recommending, you gotta do that if you're gonna be able to recommend the products. And in the process of doing that, take some photos. Get somebody to come out with you and help take some photos, or just set up a camera on a tripod and set it to take a photo every 10 seconds. And you're gonna be able to get some images that you can actually use on your site and make the content actually be more legitimate and more original. In addition to getting your hands on the product, it's important to have some sort of test. If you're comparing two products, you need some sort of metrics to compare these things on. If it's golf clubs, maybe it's something like, again, range. Maybe you do have a place, maybe you can go out to like a field somewhere, and you can actually hit 10 balls with one driver and then hit 10 balls with the other driver and see which ones went the farthest. Do some actual testing of your own and say, I had a 10% increase using this club over this club. Have some way that you measure, and the measurements can be somewhat subjective like that, but you need to have some actual way of comparing them beyond just the specs and some of the reviews that you've read online. And the next thing is, you have to make that original research really come through within the content. Help people find the information that they're looking for very easily. Highlight it somehow. I mentioned that earlier. Put a box around it, whatever it is. Make it easy for them to find, but surround it with information that makes it really clear that your recommendation is legitimate. Those photos are gonna go a really long way. Video clips are gonna go a really long way. If you have some data from the experiments that you ran with these products, that's gonna go a really long way, so that when you do make that recommendation in the end, they know that it's a legitimate recommendation based on actual testing. You've got to make it abundantly clear, and most bloggers are not going to put in the effort. They're not going to go through the expense, even though there are ways to reduce it. They're not going to do it. And that is where you get a huge competitive advantage if you're just willing to go the extra mile, even when it means finding a creative solution to get a hold of the product for testing. In our new blogging course inside of Project 24, this content is a major piece of it. Original research is the way that we stand out from the crowd going forward as bloggers. And I invite you to go check that out inside of Project 24, available May 3rd, 2021. If that date has passed, go take a look at it right now. It's already there.